Before I begin this story today, I want you to imagine something. Suppose you are shopping at a busy market, attending a public event, or simply walking down the street. Suddenly, you learn that a real cannibal, a vampire, a man who has eaten another human being, is somewhere around you. He could be passing right beside you. He could be shopping in the same store as you. How would you feel? You would probably feel shocked, disturbed, frightened, and deeply uncomfortable. That's only natural. We are human beings. If we know that someone living among us is capable of eating another person, our perception of that individual changes instantly. History has seen many cannibals. There has been proof of the existence of vampires. Even there are places where it's been claimed that vampires still exist. But today's story is different. This is the story of perhaps the only notorious cannibal who is still alive today. Not only alive, but free. He isn't in prison. He lives openly under his real name. Over the years, he has written 19 books, appeared in films, given interviews to magazines and television channels, and in many ways became a public figure. Instead of hiding from society, he continued living in it. Today, he is around 70 years old and still resides in Japan. His name is Issei Sagawa. To understand his story, let's go back to June 13th, 1981 in Paris, France. That evening, an elderly couple was taking a walk near a lakeside, Bois de Boulogne, one of Paris's famous parks. As they walked along the lakeside, they noticed a taxi pull over nearby. A small, thin Asian man stepped out of the cab. What caught their attention wasn't just his appearance. It was the two unusually large suitcases he struggled to remove from the trunk. After paying the driver, the man dragged both suitcases towards the lake. The elderly couple found this suspicious. There were no hotels or shopping centers nearby, only the park and the lake. Why would someone bring two enormous suitcases there? Curious and uneasy, they kept watching. The man disappeared briefly from their view near the shoreline. Sensing that something wasn't right, the couple immediately called the police. Officers arrived quickly. By then, the mysterious man had vanished. However, two suitcases were floating near the edge of the lake. Police recovered them and opened them. Inside one suitcase were dismembered human body parts. Inside the other was the severed head of a young woman. The discovery shocked the Paris police. Crimes like this were extremely rare. Investigators immediately questioned the elderly couple, who described the man as best they could and told officers about the taxi that had dropped him off. Police traced the taxi company and quickly located the driver. The driver confirmed that he had picked up an Asian man carrying two very large suitcases from an apartment building. He even told investigators that he had jokingly asked that passenger that, "Those bags are huge. Are you carrying a dead body in there?" The passenger had laughed and replied, "No, they're just books." That joke suddenly took on a horrifying meaning. Using the driver's information, detectives located the apartment building where the passenger had been picked up. The building manager told police that only one Asian resident lived there. His name was Issei Sagawa. Police went directly to his apartment. A thin, frail-looking 34-year-old man answered the door. He showed no signs of panic. When officers asked whether he had been at the park, he admitted that he had. The taxi driver immediately identified him as the passenger he had transported earlier that evening. Police searched the apartment. When they opened the refrigerator, they found additional human body parts stored inside. Issei Sagawa was arrested immediately. During interrogation, he calmly confessed. He admitted that he had murdered a young French student named Renée Hartevelt. He confessed that after killing her, he had sexually assaulted her body and spent the next 2 days eating parts of her remains. When decomposition began, he placed some body parts in his refrigerator and packed the rest in the 2 suitcases. His plan had been to dispose of them in the lake. Instead, he was caught before he could get away with it. The confession stunned all of France. People couldn't believe that a man had been living among ordinary citizens in Paris while committing such an unimaginable crime. The case dominated newspaper headlines, and Issei Sagawa became known throughout the country. But to understand how he became the man he was, we have to go back much further to his childhood in Japan. Issei Sagawa was born on April 26, 1949 in Kobe, Japan. He was born prematurely at just 7 months, and from the very beginning, he was physically weak. Compared to other children his age, he was much smaller, shorter, and frailer. His legs, in particular, were extremely thin, something that would deeply affect him as he grew older. As a child, he didn't think much about his appearance, but as he got older, he became painfully aware of how different he was from everyone else. Other boys were taller, stronger, and more athletic, while he remained small and physically weak. According to Sagawa's own later accounts, this insecurity gradually developed into a disturbing obsession. He claimed that one of his earliest abnormal thoughts came when he looked at his mother's legs as a child. He later said that he had imagined what it would be like to eat them. Over time, these fantasies became stronger. As he entered his teenage years and later college, he found himself obsessing over tall women with long legs. Whenever he saw such women with long, curvy, thick legs, he claimed the same thought would enter his mind, that he wanted to lick them, he wanted to eat them. These fantasies remained hidden. He never shared them with anyone, not even his family. While studying at university in Japan, he became obsessed with a German student who attended the same college. One day, he secretly followed her home and entered her apartment, intending to attack her. Get those legs. However, because he was physically much weaker than she was, she quickly fought him off, took control over him. Then she screamed for help and neighbors rushed in before he could carry out his plan. Police arrested him for attempted sexual assault. Because Sagawa came from a wealthy and influential family, his parents hired lawyers and managed to have him released. Even they reportedly believed the incident was an attempted rape, unaware of the disturbing fantasies he had kept hidden for years. After graduating from university, Sagawa decided to pursue a PhD in literature in Paris, France. While studying there, he met Renée Hartevelt, a French student. Renée was intelligent, friendly, and physically very different from him. She was tall, attractive, and had long, thick legs. The exact physical characteristics that matched Sagawa's lifelong obsession. The two became friends. Renée believed Sagawa was simply a quiet, intelligent international student. She had no idea what was going on inside his mind. Eventually, Sagawa invited her to his apartment. He told her he needed help translating some French poetry for his research. Trusting him, Renée accepted the invitation. On June 11th, 1981, she arrived at his apartment to help him with the translations. As she sat reading aloud with her back turned toward him, Sagawa quietly picked up a rifle that he had already prepared. Without warning, he fired a single shot into the back of her neck. Renée collapsed instantly onto the table and died almost immediately. According to Sagawa's later statements, the sight of the blood shocked him so badly that he himself lost consciousness. When he finally regained consciousness, he realized that Renée was dead. He later claimed that at that moment, he believed she could no longer resist him or defend herself. He then carried out the fantasies he had harbored since childhood. According to his own confession, he first sexually assaulted her body. Afterwards, he attempted to bite into her legs, into her flesh, with his teeth, but found it impossible. He left the apartment, purchased a large carving knife, returned home, and began cutting pieces from her body. He later wrote that he specifically ate portions of her legs because that had been the focus of his obsession since childhood. Over the next 48 hours, Sagawa remained inside the apartment, consuming parts of Renée's body. When decomposition began, he stored some remains in his refrigerator while placing others into 2 large suitcases. He then hired a taxi and attempted to dispose of the evidence in a lake inside Bois de Boulogne. That decision ultimately led to his arrest after an elderly couple noticed his suspicious behavior and alerted the police. So after that, what happened? He had been arrested, but then after his confessions, the court decided that this person is mentally unstable and not in a position to keep him in the jail. Instead, he was sent to asylum where he had been kept for a few months. But then the residents, the locals, the citizen of France, they created objection that they were paying tax for the country, not for any outsider. So this was the reason he was deported to Japan. There he spent many years in the asylum in Japan, and after 5 to 6 years he was released, and then he restarted his life. As he was from a wealthy family, his parents reset his life and he started a new life. Now at present days, he's a 70-year-old man. He still says that he still has this urge whenever he sees a thick fleshy woman feet and legs. He has this craving still now, but he promised one thing to himself, that he will never ever commit such kind of crime. But the best part and it's really strange part, that a man equivalent to a vampire, a cannibal, is living a free life in Japan till date. Tell me in the comment section, what do you think about this person?
Well, so that's all for tonight. I hope you liked the story, and if that is the case, please hit the like button. And if you want to hear more of such real crime and horror based stories and incidents, please do subscribe this channel right away. Good night. Take care.